They keep saying we gave the land away, that we sold ourselves out. No. Let me tell you what really fucking happened. They picked fake chiefs, signed fake treaties, gave disease for blankets and liquor for names. Then they forged the blood rolls, paid white folks $5 to claim our tribes, and told us we ain't native enough to stay. They turned us against each other, said you're Creek, you're Blackfoot, you're African, you don't belong. Meanwhile, they bulldozed the mounds, sterilized our women, and burned the scrolls. And now they build churches on our graves and say we betrayed ourselves. No, we didn't sell ourselves out. They flipped the fucking scroll and blamed the flame. Shapu Yiyak Untataway. We remember, the land remembers. You can't lie on the flame and expect not to get fucking burned. Oh, and by the way, stay tuned for the next video about what's under the mounds. Still.
Okay, I'm gonna explain this because some of y'all seem confused. See this lady in the blue? That is an American Indian. This lady in the red, that is a Native American, an immigrant from Siberia. Once again, lady in the brown, that is an American Indian. Lady over here with the feather, that is a Native American, Siberian immigrant. This is an American Indian with the headband. This over here in the red is a Native American, immigrant from Siberia. Once again, lady in the brown, an American Indian, the indigenous people of America. Lady in the black jacket, Native American, immigrant from Siberia. These are two different people, two different cultures. Don't confuse them.
Can somebody answer this shit for me? How the fuck is we African American if on my grandparents' birth certificate it says Indian? Then on my mama's birth certificate it says Negro. And mine now says African American. How the fuck I jumped to African American from Negro and Indian? Somebody explain that shit to me. I'm confused.
Do this say United States of America? Is that what it say? It don't look like it say United States of America to me. That motherfucker say, it say Tamari. That's our country, Tamari. New maps. Not no old maps. We're gonna have our own navigational system. You're gonna open up your phone and you're gonna look at the map and it's gonna say Tamari. It will not say United States. That's how we take the country back. It first off has to start taking it back in the minds. The minds and the books.
This, be nice.
I'm finding it.
It take you that long to find it?
It does.
Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee, Seminole, and Creek. I look familiar to you? Those 5 tribes especially, I look familiar to you? You know, you don't know me. You know my bloodline, though. You know what you did to my bloodline, though. Hi. Yeah, I'm here. We're back. And I'm
The the science that they were proposing is not what we today would honor as scientific in any way. The eugenics movement has a direct link to the descendants of Charles Darwin. They somehow made the leap to these notions about racial purity. What is best for each race is racial purity. Plecker and his friends convinced the Virginia legislature to adopt very restrictive legislation in 1924. It's called the Racial Integrity Act. With this legislation, it was decreed that there were only two possible categories. One is white, which means a person, you check that you're white if you have white ancestry, Caucasian ancestry, and absolutely nothing else. The other category is everybody else, and that's colored. So this was very hard on Virginia's indigenous community because in a sense it wipes away their identity on paper. Their ability to describe themselves as Indian was not possible. To describe themselves as Indian was not possible. To describe themselves as Indian was not possible.
Black Americans have been programmed to believe that their last name comes from a slave master. That's not always the case. When indigenous tribes were being forcibly assimilated into European culture, they adopted European surnames. I created a tribal surname lookup on my website, nativebblackancestry.com, so you can go there, look up your last name, and see what tribe it may be affiliated with. You're carrying a clue in your name. It's time to do some digging. You'll be surprised at what you find.
They reclassified us. My great-great-grandma was an Indian. My great-grandma was an Indian. My grandmother was a Negro. My father is a color. And now I'm an African-American. Make that shit make sense. They reclassified us. My great-great-grandma was an Indian. My great-grandma was an Indian. My grandmother was a Negro. My father is a color. And now I'm an African-American. Make that shit make sense.
You claim Indian and don't speak your language.
Can you speak an African language?
Now, I'm African American.
They gave us the Holy Bible because they wanted us to put our faith, our energy, power into their deity. And that's the reason why they've been winning all of these years. See, they used our spirituality on us, but they didn't want you to know that though. They told you that you need Jesus Christ, not knowing that Jesus Christ was really just a concept saying who you were. But at the same time, they wanted you to give their deity all the power and all the glory and all of that, and their God was a jealous God, and that's not the true God that we are actually connected to. And I'm here to tell the people about it. I mean, some of y'all gonna hate me for what I'm about to say, but those of you who are looking for freedom, you're gonna totally appreciate what it is I'm about to tell you. The Bible was actually altered, and there's a reason why they took this part out. There's a reason why this part of the Bible was taken out. And I'm going to let you know why. Think about it. Why would a God that's all-powerful, that's all-knowing, why would that God be jealous of anybody? Why? Because the true God that we are actually connected to lives within us. It's not outside of us. That they wanted you to go outside and look at the sky and wanted you to believe that a man would come out of the sky in a robe and was going to save you. It was all a lie. That was all a lie. The true God lives within you. And in order to connect to that true God, the only thing that you have to do is start to do things such as fasting, do praying. If you really want to find God, I'm telling you, you do not have to go to a church to find God. Not saying that don't go to church, because if you want to go to church, go to church. But if you really want to find God, God comes in isolation. Meaning that go in a room where you can hear nothing. Go in a room where there's silence. Listen. This is how you can hear God. Now, God is always with you because God lives within you. But if you really want to hear what it is that God is saying to you, then go outside and put your feet in the grass. Look up at that sun. Once you look up at that sun is going to activate something that is going to start to let you know everything that you need to know. Which is why now we have so many people that are waking up, that are coming up with the same type of information. And guess what? They are wondering, how are they getting this information? We burned all their books. We destroyed all their information. How are they getting this information? So they started to lock people up that started to come forth, such as Jamal, what is his name? Rashad Jamal. I don't want to get his name wrong, but people such as him that came forth to speak the truth, they wanted to put them away. Now, there's multiple people that know the truth. We all know the truth now. We all know the truth now because we are all in tune with who it is that we really are. And who we really are, we've always been spiritual beings. We were never religious people. We were always spiritual. And that's something that they tried to take away from us, but you can't take away from us what is us. That's our essence. We are magic. See, they tried to use the magic on us. But now the time is up. And regardless of what you want to say, it's time to pay. So these people that's been doing these things that they know is wrong, it's time to pay. You can no longer manipulate. You cannot manipulate nature anymore. Do you see that nature is going against most of the things that they are doing? Just pay attention.
I got my DNA test back today, and it says I'm most notably connected, or my DNA is most notably connected to Chief Pontiac of the Ottawa Indians, or Native Americans. That blew my mind. And I was born in Korea, lived on the streets of South Korea, but there's not much Korean in me. How is that even possible? So, I'm a Korean from Korea that's not Korean, that's most notably connected to Chief Pontiac. How is that even possible? Someone explain this.
Imagine being a Native American that's terrorizing an innocent soul that just found out her ancestors were brainwashed, manipulated into giving up their identity to people who are not only disrespectful, but ungrateful. And now,
it's happening. We're there. Historians are leaving the country. The people whose entire life and personality and skill set is to know and study history are leaving the country now because it's not safe. It's not safe.
Mind you, these are the same historians that told you and your ancestors, me and mine, came from Africa. These are the same historians that gave you guys the okay to call yourselves Native Americans. Your problem is not with me, and I understand that now, so y'all keep going.
And since we on the subject of shit I'm sick of tonight, I think it's crazy as hell to get on this app
and try to tell me as an indigenous American that I'm not from here, although I was born here, my mother was born here, her mother was born here, her mother was born here, and her mother was born here. I think it's quite diabolical to get here on this app and say that you are from Africa and you can't even tell me what fucking tribe or country you come from. On top of that, you've also admitted that you have Asiatic descent. So are you closer to the Africans or the Native Americans? Questions that need motherfucking answers.
Now let's see how they wiped us as American Indians out of history. Because in the law of 1662, we were American Indians. In the law of 1662, the baby follows the belly. 1682 is the law that defines who's enslaved, the law that says North Africans and American Indians. We're there. 1856, we're American Indians in the Dred Scott decision. So in 1865, when 4 million people were released from slavery, where the fuck did the American Indians go? That we're American Indians. They wiped us out of history. So then we get lost in the education system for 100 years. And when we pop out in 1960 on the other side, there's no longer any American Indians that were enslaved, just black people? And black people means you came from West Africa? But every single American law that predates the United States and every single United States law says that those enslaved only come from North Africa and North America as the indigenous people of those two lands. So somebody is lying. And it's the public school system, because West Africa is not mentioned in any law. Nobody came from West Africa by law. You cannot falsely educate. I want to sue everybody. I can't.
Black people, they don't want you to believe that. They don't want you to know who you are, because you're Indian. Not those type of Indians. The ones in America. Not in the 7-Elevens. In the reservations. You were indigenous to this land, and you own this promised land. But they don't want you to know that.
Time recording this. Let's give this another go. Anyway, I remember when I first thought I was black. Just black. I know better now, and I've known better for quite some time. Absolutely. For those that don't know, we were already here. We were already here. Before the ships came, we were already here. Before Columbus got lost, we were already here. Before the lies got told, we were already here. We were already rooted in the lands. We originated here. We belong here. We were already here. When the colonizers got here, they did what colonizers do. They renamed and they reclassified, turning tribes into freedmen, turning landowners into property, having people choose their mother's blood or their father's blood, branded it as policy, calling it order. Call it what it really was: your agenda to destroy, to divide, and disappear. But guess what? We remember. We remember by the numbers too. Those 5 civilized tribes, they were considered that because they adopted the ways of the colonizer. They betrayed, they hunted, they enslaved, they slaughtered, they stole, and they silenced. There are blood on their hands. There are atrocities that they are due to atone for. I don't give a damn what anybody says. I do not care. Let me make it clear. I'm not asking for permission. I'm not seeking validation at all. I remember. We remember. This ain't no damn trend. Hey, question. How many of you guys growing up, you heard the whole, I got Cherokee in my family, we got Indian in my family, or you had some people look at you or look at your family and be like, what are y'all mixed with? It might have been considered classism back in the day, but what was happening is that they were recognizing a presence, an identity that they have been working over time to beat, to burn, and bury out of existence. They've been trying to keep this shit gone for a while, and we just keep popping back up. You can tell from our cheekbones, you can tell from our nose, you can tell from our hair, you can tell from our aura, our presence. If they were really what they were about and not them raggedy ass $5, they will understand that energy doesn't die, it transforms. Ain't no getting rid of us. We don't die, we multiply. Motherfuckers. Yeah, we remember. The land remembers, the blood remembers. And what's so interesting, did you guys ever think of this? Despite not being on record, despite not being a part of the rally or someone's little fucking paper or attendance sheet, despite not being a part of the practices that they try to gatekeep and all that foolishness, who else felt it in you? Noticed it in your family that, wait, something's different, something's off. Like, hold on, this isn't the full picture. Despite not being a part of those listed things that they like to hold as criteria, like someone's auditioning. No one's fucking auditioning. Get the hell out of here. There's a reason why you feel connected and why I feel connected too, despite the disconnection. And we're going to talk about the disconnection.
So, what were Black Indians called before they were called Indian?
Before being called Indians, the people now known as Black Indigenous or Aboriginal Americans often identified with their specific tribal names and affiliations, such as Yamasee, Washita, or Yamakra. These names were based on their own languages, cultures, and territories. The term Indian was a colonial misnomer imposed by European settlers. Remember, their identities were diverse and rich long before these labels.
Can you tell me all of the Black Indian tribes?
Sure. There are many tribes with Black, Indigenous, or Afro-Indigenous heritage. Some well-known ones include the Yamasee, Washita, Lumbee, and Seminole, especially the Black Seminoles. Other tribes with significant Black Indigenous populations or historical connections include the Cherokee Freedmen, Chickasaw, Choctaw, and Creek Freedmen. Each tribe has its unique history and cultural blend.
Could you tell me how some of the tribes were sold to the Caribbean from the Southeast region, such as Mississippi and Louisiana?
Sure. During the colonial period, many indigenous peoples from the Southeast, including those from Mississippi and Louisiana, were enslaved and transported to the Caribbean. This was part of the broader slave trade, where colonizers displaced people to various colonies for labor. Indigenous people were often captured during wars or raids, then sold into slavery. The Caribbean's demand for labor led to this forced migration. This movement created a blend of African, Indigenous, and European cultures, which can still be seen in Caribbean communities today.
Besides the Caribbean, where else were those Black Indigenous people trafficked to?
Besides the Caribbean, Black Indigenous peoples were also trafficked to various locations across North and South America, including the Gulf Coast, the Carolinas, Mexico, and Central America. They were often moved to labor on plantations, in mines, or as part of other colonial enterprises. This widespread trafficking contributed to the diverse Afro-Indigenous communities found throughout the Americas today. Some Black Indigenous peoples were also trafficked to Europe, particularly to places like Portugal and Spain. Additionally, some were sent to the west coast of Africa as part of the broader Atlantic trade networks. These movements created a complex web of cultural exchange and influenced diverse Afro-Indigenous communities across multiple continents.
This is for my Aboriginal Indigenous Americans, those who look like me, those that the world is screaming, where's your proof? Where's your proof? Honey, let me tell you how we're going to begin this show. Okay? Right about now, America is being turned every which way but loose. All that is being done here, let's add to it, okay? Let's crack open a yield of truth that they cannot ignore. Let's begin building our family trees. Let's begin getting on these genealogy search engines. What you want to do is find census reports before 1865. Find those census reports. I would suggest that you start tracing your mother's lineage first, okay? And you trace that lineage and you find those census reports before 1865. You go on Ancestry.com. You can also pull up the Dow's rolls, and I'm going to come with more information on how we're going to shake this shit to the core, how we're going to rip open the fiber of this country and expose the truth. And those who are offended, how we're going to ruffle their feathers and have them searching in a frenzy for their truth and who they are. Because if this is our truth, what does that mean about me? Okay? So keep standing in your truth and know who you are, despite all the reclassification that this country has did. And when you look at those census reports, let me tell you, you want to see Indian, but you're more likely not going to see that. You will see mulatto. They're going to tell you that's Black and European. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. You want to see how they reclassified your family to Negro, to Black? Yeah, reclassification is what they did. But we're going to open the very fibers of this country. And as Trump is restoring and doing whatever he's doing and however it may look like, we're going to add on top of it. And we're going to understand that we are not Black, but Indigenous, Aboriginal, not Native. Go look up the etymology of what a Native is. We are not that. Okay? So while they are offended at our truth and they're screaming for proof, and if you can't look at me and see proof enough, honey, get ready to be turned every way but loose with the truth.
Seneca, we're never Black. We're red, but not Black. Stop spreading misinformation on my people.
Yeah, hey, Yeah, ay, yeah, yeah, ay. I like to with your mess, ayy. Can't keep my pants, ayy. My sister don't love me no more, ayy. She kicked me out on life, bro.
So wait, YT told the truth about us, but lied about y'all being from over the Bering Strait. So when y'all DNA, so when they say take a DNA test, East Asian and Native American, they put it like this: they use the markers because of the Bering Strait ideology, right? To say, okay, well, this is East Asian. That's why the Chinese woman said they found out that she was 100% Native American. They had on the documents. 1400. You still from over the ice. You still came with the Alaskan Purchase. Your folks was naturalized over here through the Alaskan Purchase. Yes, they were. They could have stayed in Russia or came over here and been naturalized. There was people from the Philippines that was naturalized here as Indians too. I don't have to keep saying anything. It's documented. What are you talking about, Fry Bread?
So I woke up and the first thing I see is TikTok lit today. So we exposing the natives, we exposing the YTs. This what we doing today? Cause I'm all for it. Welcome to the cookout. Everybody got so much to say. We ain't the natives, huh? No, we are the natives. Excuse me, we ain't the natives. We the originals. Not only to America, but to the whole entire earth. It's ours. So what happened? I'll tell you what happened. They burned down all of our paper, birth certificates, pictures, documents. They burned down our buildings. I'm talking about houses. I'm talking about sacred places. I'm talking about libraries, okay? They bulldozed all of our mounds. Not only did they bulldoze the mound, they went inside, dug everything up, stole it, and left it there as a viewing site for foreigners and immigrants to go look at. They hired fake chiefs. They paid YT people $5 to take our lands. They erased our identity, reclassified us, relocated us, and told us we were from Africa. Well, I tell you what, since you like giving the credit of the pyramid builder culture, the mound builder culture, the agriculture that's flourished the Americas, and not only Americas, but spread through the entire world, since you want to take credit for it, or you want to give that credit to people who don't deserve it, do it again. Build some more pyramids. Build some more free energy centers. Build some more subway systems. Build some more street cars and street buses. Build it. Do it. Since y'all are the original Americans who were here before us, repeat the history. Replicate the culture. Oh yeah, you can't.
Somebody was like, sis, we believe you, but we just want to know, why do the DNA tests keep coming back from West Africa? Y'all talking about 23andMe and Ancestry.com? Those are the only DNA tests. And they tell you when you do that, that is for entertainment purposes only. And if you want the real answer is that they don't have a sample from American Indian DNA. So when you get American Indian DNA, they reroute it and say you're from West Africa. That test is made up. It is not corroborated by any government. You cannot trust 23andMe and Ancestry.com is who y'all asking me why the test keeps coming back incorrect. If you take that test to the Creek tribe or any tribe and you say, hey, this test says that I am from, or any African tribe, and you say, hey, this test says that I'm from here, they're going to say, well, do you have any legal documents to prove that? Since I had to apply for a tribal card, I know that. But since y'all don't know anything, y'all think that the DNA test from 23andMe and Ancestry.com can tell you where you're from. Y'all, please, come on now. Only legal documents can do that, and I have done the legal research for you. In 1662, you were enslaved through the law, the baby follows the belly. That's America before the United States was formed. In 1682, the Virginia law tells us who is to be enslaved: North Africans and American Indians. In 1856, the Dred Scott decision defines the difference between the two groups of people enslaved and says that those two groups of people are the same color. One person is from the American continent and one person is from the African continent. Those people were all freed in 1865. You are the product, the children of those women enslaved. So you are either North African or American Indian, but you're a mixture of both. And that's per law. The law trumps DNA. DNA didn't exist till 1953. I just traced your lineage as American Indians and indigenous people to North Africa since 1662. So either you believe the truth or you keep following 23andMe and Ancestry.com. Listen to yourselves. Those are not credible sources. It's time to start thinking critically. What proof do you have that you are from West Africa that is corroborated and is not for entertainment purposes? This might be entertainment, but this is not for entertainment purposes. Everything I do is backed up by law.
If black people was the first people on the planet, then who was everybody else?
Because basically your tribe has experienced what's some called documentary genocide. Tell us a little bit about the beginning.
Well, as you're aware, in 1912, Dr. Walter Plecker became the first director of the Bureau of Vital Statistics. Prior to that, there were no birth certificates, and he was the director up until the 1940s, 1946, until his death. But he was part of the eugenics movement, which was a movement about creating one race of people, which was white, and everything else was put in a pot, as Tina Marie must say, and stir it up and call colored. But he went beyond board on that, wherein as far as first Americans are concerned, he changed birth certificates and marriage license. He even put out letters to census takers in 1930 that people such as myself that are first Americans and Native Americans, that he considered us as being bastards, that we were just trying to be Indian to marry into the white race. What's so interesting about that was that in the 30s, he gave a presentation in New York City and on eugenics, and there were commanders associated with Adolf Hitler that attended that particular meeting.
But basically, when he was the registrar for the Bureau of Vital Records, he changed the names of Indian people in Southampton County, their race from Indian to Negro or colored.
Well, it was referred to as colored, and basically all the tribes in Virginia in the early 1900s were referred to as colored. Okay, then after the 1924 Racial Integrity Act, everything that was in that colored bowl became Negro.
We are living the biggest hoax in history. Hear me out. Them folks came over here on a boat. We seen the pictures of them all on the boat. We know what the boat was called. Yet they wrote a story of how they brought us on the boat from a land far, far away. No evidence of the boat, no record of the boat, no pictures of the boat. They could take pictures of them coming on the boat, but they don't have no pictures of them bringing us on the boat. They can't find the boat. Ain't no evidence on the boat. The journey from where they say they would have came from to bring us here is actually a journey that would have killed us. So there is really no validity to the story, but because they wrote the story and they force-fed it to so many people, y'all believe the story. So y'all run around here thinking that we come from there. But if you look at the geographical location we are, and you look at the people that are located around the geographical location that we are, we look just like them. All of us look alike. From here on down, you telling me we don't look alike? Okay. Anyway, back to the story. These folks came over here to our land, pencil whipped us, wrote a history where they wrote themselves as the victor, spread that history to not only people that look like me, but people that look like them, so that the people look like them thought that they were the victor and started enforcing the rules and the propaganda that they were pushing upon people that look like us in order to enslave us in our own motherfucking land. They took our religion and force-fed us theirs. And for all of y'all that be like, oh, black people wrote the Bible. No, the fuck they didn't. A round table full of them wrote the Bible, took stories from other continents so that the Bible was relatable to people all over the planet, and then force-fed it. Literally killed people for not believing in their religion. And y'all motherfuckers will literally get on here and argue up and down over a God that don't even look like you. A God that is okay with enslaving you. Read it. Okay, back. Woosah, bring it back.
Bring it back. Bring it back. Then what's crazy, they wrote history, fed us the history, and then y'all will get on here and dead ass argue the validity of a book that wasn't even written for you. That book was written for them by them. All the history books. All the history books up until modern day was written by people who wanted to keep you trapped in that history. You know how they say history will repeat itself? If we've been given a false narrative of history, which history do you think is going to repeat? Y'all need to break the cycle. Y'all need to wake the fuck up. They took your religion, made it demonic, and then made a demon your fucking God. Because if you read that motherfucking book, it's full of death, destruction, and motherfucking evil. An all-powerful God needs you to worship them. Literally made a pact with y'all forefather that as long as your people believe in me, I will give you the world. And them motherfuckers been living in our fucking world, reaping the benefits of our fucking blood. They tell you you will find heaven when you die. Yet they live in heaven on earth off our motherfucking backs. And y'all will literally die on a motherfucking cross to prove your worthiness to a God that won't even answer your fucking prayers. Then y'all the victim too. Y'all don't even realize y'all the victim too. Every time I hear a white person get on this app and be racist, I be like, you stupid motherfucker. You are feeding right into the propaganda that the motherfucking demons want you to feed into because you ain't doing nothing but spreading hate. What benefit does it give you to be a racist? You making money from it? Bread? No. 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 You just gaining unwanted attention. There's a group of people that look like this that get the brunt of the motherfucking blame for what a group of demons done because y'all feed into the propaganda that they want y'all to feed into, that y'all are the victor. No. Nobody's the victor. We all trapped in the same reality. Fighting each other, feeding these motherfucking entities that don't belong here. This is a spiritual war. And y'all just keep feeding y'all ego instead of waking the fuck up and realizing that y'all need to step into a higher perspective, a higher realm, so that we can get these motherfuckers out of here. They literally have no power. They feed off our power. That's why they keep poking. That's why they keep bringing up stuff. That's why every time you look around it's, oh, they doing this, they doing that, because they're feeding off of our energy. And as long as y'all keep giving it to them, they're going to keep being as powerful as y'all think they are. But the reality is they don't have no motherfucking power, because if they had power, they would have devoured us a long time ago.
Black people, they don't want you to believe that. They don't want you to know who you are, because you're Indian. Not those type of Indians. The ones in America. Not in the 7-Elevens. In the reservations. You were indigenous to this land. And you own this promised land. But they don't want you to know that.
Y'all, I was researching my maternal grandmother's Creole line and I came across an interesting document. Let me know what you think. This is Winston Polk. Can you guys guess what race Winston Polk was? Just take a quick guess. What'd y'all guess? If you guessed Native American, you guessed right. But here's where it gets a little weird. Because Winston didn't take his ass to Oklahoma, they wrote him down as black. So the 23rd President of the United States, Benjamin Harrison, signed this land grant for Winston Polk. This is my DNA relative's second great grandfather. But because he didn't go to Oklahoma and just stayed in Mississippi, Alabama area, They wrote him down as black. Here's the actual document if anyone's curious, and you can see his name right there, Winston Polk. So this is the phenomenon that a lot of people are getting ridiculed for on this app, the reclassification of races. A lot of Native Americans were classified as black, not because they were African, but because they weren't white. Here's Winston Polk's wife, if anyone's interested.
To address the issue of birthright citizenship. And now, 22 states are suing to block Republicans from overturning this deeply flawed policy. Let me tell you, the policy is so deeply flawed. If you've read the 14th Amendment, if you remember the time frame that took place in, I'll give you all a math it is.
13th Amendment.
14th Amendment. Can any of y'all tell me which amendment preceded the 14th Amendment?
13th Amendment.
Math majors out there, of course.
Abolishing slavery.
Amendment, which abolished slavery. The intent of our founders and our members of Congress back then was to make sure that African Americans got a place in America. Now, I've talked to judges, some of them in Congress that said, well, no, birthright citizenship is part of the 14th Amendment. I said, look, just because some court has interpreted that doesn't make it right, doesn't make it law. The courts and the judges get it wrong. Supreme Court gets it wrong all the time. They actually rule that African Americans could be counted as 3/5 of a citizenship.
Indigenous.
The census records, right?
Aboriginals.
They also rule that Negroes can use separate equal bathrooms. I think it was Brown versus Board of Education.
Who was of Nauset Wampanoag lineage, was one of the original people killed in the Boston Massacre, the well-known Black Wampanoag.
The Mashpee Wampanoag in the late 17th and 18th centuries were known for being a kind of a haven for people of color of all different backgrounds. They were welcoming of outsiders because their definition of Indianness didn't have to do with color. It had to do with whether you were really a member of the community or not. So children who had mixed ancestry parents were fully welcomed into these communities. And this was something that was hard for whites to understand, that somebody from a very complex, racially mixed background could be fully Indian. That was a really hard concept for scholars to get their minds around.
And we have another. She says, she actually asked me what was my native tongue, okay? Someone else commented, which y'all can go check out the comments in the video. But anyway, she goes, this is her stuff here. And she's now waiting on me to provide mine, which I've already provided, right? But I want to show you guys something, okay? So I just want to sit this right here for you guys, okay? This is someone's story. They're answering the question, as a Native American, were you ever mistaken as Asian? I'm gonna let you guys pause and read. I'm not gonna do all that, okay? But so I just want to show y'all this real quick. I also want to show you guys this. And I'm gonna also show you a couple other things. And this. And this should actually help you really understand that you are native here. You're not indigenous here. And that's okay. And I want to also show you guys this. You can go ahead and read. This is just explaining that, if you look below here, and you're gonna have to zoom in, guys, but it's gonna explain a lot. But watch this, and you can just pause, but watch this. Now I think I put this up, but I'm gonna add the second part to it
because it actually explains a lot. And this can go in conjunction with the video that I also posted, but I'm going to create a playlist. So this is going to be on the playlist, and I'm going to call it Siberia. Pause and read, but let me show y'all this. Now this says Native Americans are closely related to Eastern Asians and Siberians mutually, okay? It says they carry the mtDNA haplogroups and therefore don't share the same DNA with Africans and Europeans. Watch this. Zoom in, you guys, zoom in. Let me show you this. Here we have this. It shows mtDNA shows Native Americans carry mtDNA, A, Siberian, mtDNA found among the people of the South Pacific, and mtDNA, I can't see this because the sticker is right there, but it says something East Asians. But you guys can zoom in and see all of this, because while they're claiming DNA, they're not talking about this. You can be native to this land. That's okay. But you have to know the difference between native and indigenous. You're not indigenous to the land. They originated from ancient Siberians and still are related to some Siberians and East Asians. DNA map of indigenous peoples showing Native Americans' closest relatives, according to YDNA, are the Selkip of Siberia, and they are not related to Koreans. And we're gonna go ahead and check this out down here, guys. So, as you can see, Native Americans carry haplogroup Q as their main haplogroup, which is also found in Northern Eurasian, and they carry Y-DNA C, which is found mostly in East Asia. Okay, so I'm just gonna sit this right here. I had some other images I'm gonna add, but I'll save that for another video. Okay. All right, y'all. I hope this helps. Okay, girl. All right. Peace. Okay, let's read this comment real quick. He says, I guess he meant y'all are indigenous from Africa for sure, right? Right, because he's been heavy in my comment section. So let's do a deep dive into ancestry. Let's do that. So stay tuned. Let me add some more stuff. So when you type in Asian man, this is what comes up, right? Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so here I typed in Siberian man, okay? So check this out. We're gonna get to some juicy stuff. Just stay here. Let's keep going. 24,000-year-old Siberian boy sheds light on origins of Native Americans, okay? The genome sequence of a 24,000-year-old young Siberian individual found in Russia shows that 14 to 38% of modern Native Americans' ancestry came from this youngster's gene pool, suggesting first Americans came directly from Siberia. Okay, so the Paleolithic skeleton was first discovered in the late 1920s near the village of Malta in south central Siberia. And since then, it has been referred to as the Malta child because until this DNA study, the biological sex of the skeleton was unknown. So you guys are going to have to continue to read down there because it's cut off. I cannot see it. But I can see that Dr. whomever from Texas A&M University and co-author somewhere, y'all can read it, but I'm gonna keep going. Dr. Graff with colleagues suggest, wrong part. Dr. Graff with colleagues used material from the boy's upper arm to sequence his mitochondrial and nuclear genomes. It shows he had close genetic ties to today's Native Americans and some Western Eurasians. Specifically, some, and I cannot see that part because the little sticker is right there. Y'all can read that part. South Asia and Europe. Also, he shared close genetic ties with other Ice Age Western Eurasians living in European Russia, Czech Republic, and even Germany. We think these Ice Age people were quite mobile and capable of maintaining a far-reaching gene pool that extended from central Siberia all the way west to Central Europe, Dr. Graff said. Another significant result of the study is that the Malta boys people were also ancestors of Native Americans, explaining why some early Native American skeletons, such as Kennewick Man, were interrupted to have some European trait. Our study proves that Native Americans' ancestors migrated to the Americas from Siberia and not directly from Europe, as some have recently suggested, Dr. Graff said. Dr. Graff said it, not me, okay? This is for educational purposes only, okay? The DNA study performed on the boy is the oldest complete genome of I can't see that part, something sequenced so far. The discovery raises, now y'all gonna have to read that also because I cannot see it. Read all that down there. Okay, let's keep going. And so finally, we are here. So y'all see that up there, when this was published, so on and so forth. Now, this is not my words. This is from doctors. This has been researched. There is a laboratory that is involved. So, kind sir, prove it wrong. Prove it wrong. Because we know, literally, you have to know this stuff. You have to know this. And the only reason y'all are so heavy in my comment section with all the hate is because you know that if we continue to wake up, what will happen to the land that you are on? What will happen to that? When people start to do their genealogy and really realize what belongs to them, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? That's all I got, y'all. Peace.
Birthright citizenship is going away, and people want black Americans to put the capes on and care about them, and we don't give a shit. Because every time we need another group, including people from the African diaspora, what do? You find ways to shit on our freaking legends like the Buffalo Soldiers, Harriet Tubman, so many others. You find a way to come over and undermine us. You find a way to go in and get under white supremacists, and find a way to just constantly find a way to shit on us. To show us there is no unity. We've tried the whole black and brown unity. We tried to save the freaking African diaspora. At this point, we are fucking resting. We don't give a shit. Now, if I don't speak for you, that's fine. But I can guarantee you a good chunk of black America is sick of everybody's shit. So it don't matter if you come from the freaking diaspora or any other group. We don't care.
The GOV is trying to say that birthright citizenships of Native Americans isn't a real thing. That we were not here, and so it's not all right just to be a citizen of America because, now I'm hearing, because we actually came from Siberia and we weren't always here. So that's what I'm getting at, is that there's a lot of different places I've heard, and right now up north people's reservations are getting split in half and some are being sent to Canada. How is that possible? I don't really know. Also, I'm from Oklahoma. My tribe's here, you know. If they give me the option of deporting me and tell me, you know, you pick where you want to go, I'll just do that, because this is all I've ever known. This is all my family's ever known. This is where we're from. So, I'm just giving the backstory of what that was about. The Siberia thing, I don't know. I'm just reading comments, and this is what everyone's saying is, we weren't from here. We're not the first ones here. Okay, I wasn't here years and years and years ago, so I can't really tell you, but from, I don't know, just history in itself, I don't know where the hell we're all going to go. There's reservations all over this country. There's a lot of Native Americans everywhere. So if you're going to kick us all out, I don't know. And then I heard someone saying, well, don't go to Europe. If you get deported, don't go to Europe or something, because I don't even care to go to Europe. Shit, I'd go to, like, I don't know, somewhere fun. But anyways, that's what the backstory is on all this. I don't really have a firm understanding of whatever it is. I don't even like politics. They just cracked me up because they said I was going to get deported to Siberia, and that's hysterical to me. But so be it. I mean, turn up in Siberia, I guess. You know, all my natives are just going to meet me there. We're going to have a big old party in 49, you know? That's probably what we're going to do. But anyways, I hope that helps on some of the comments and confusion, because I'm just as confused. Shit, I don't know.
From Siberia, they are Asian. No one's disregarding the natives, they just came from Siberia, they are Asian. I learned this in elementary school before it became an agenda, before they were able to cover it up. Black Americans were reclassified from Native Americans to African Americans. Not all of them come from Africa. They are finding this with their DNA tests. They are finding this with their literal elders telling them. Even Siberians know where y'all came from. Native Americans are just like Koreans and Japanese people. They come from the people of the Yellow River. That's where all Asiatics come from. Then they did something called migrated, and after they migrated, they ended up enhancing on gene pools that are only slightly different to mainland Asiatics. If you're new to my page, I'm a spiritual creator, and I disguise myself as a political activist. Because that's the only way people my age with my background will listen to me. When I refer to China, I'm mostly referring to the original Asiatics that come from the Yellow River, hence the yellow peoples, the golden peoples of the sun. We are one of the last hieroglyphic and tonal languages left on this planet, have integrated ancient traditions into modern life, and live in a balance among nature and society.
We have an opportunity now before they can coin a new term for spiritual psychosis, which, by the way, was coined by a white girl who was a self-proclaimed pathological liar. But we have this window of time before they figure out how to bury all of the information that we've uncovered, before they start calling us crazy again. And we have to go back to disguising ourselves as anything other than spiritual creators. All of the conspiracies were true. And maybe they all lead.
Facing eviction, a family in Whatcom County is hoping for a miracle, but it's not money that they need. It's a change of heart.
As Fox 13's Matthew Smith tells us, the Nooksack tribe removed almost 300 people from its tribe. Now, in the final chapter of a years-long saga, the tribe is looking to remove some of the last families from their homes.
For 12 years, not knowing if we're going to be living in these homes the next day, that's been our reality.
Sitting around the dining room table in Norma Aldridge's home,
it's something that's bitter. That's why did they do this?
The pain of what this family is about to lose hangs in the air. They've been told they need to leave their homes by 8 a.m. on November 29th.
It's not right.
Wilma Rabang, Norma, and Michelle Roberts represent 3 different families on the verge of eviction. 4 others are expecting their own eviction papers in the coming days. This is Indian country. It's the Nooksack tribe, to be specific. More than a decade ago, the tribe said roughly 300 of their members were not, in fact, Nooksack. They questioned whether they're indigenous at all. So despite years of payments on homes, the Nooksack Housing Authority says keys and deeds don't belong to them. Instead, that'll go to other families within the 2,000-member tribe. Now, after declining a sit-down interview, Nooksack leadership told Fox 13 via email, it's sad that evictions are happening, but we have hundreds of families that need housing, including elders, adding, the tribe has been really generous with the amount of time these individuals have had in the homes after disenrollment. During that time, Michelle has been fighting. We caught up with her delivering legal arguments to the tribal court earlier this year. She's become the de facto legal representative for her extended family despite no legal background. That's because their attorney, Gabe Galanda,
they feel left for dead, putting it bluntly,
was barred from practicing within the Nooksack court. His last attempt to represent them led to tribal police being called in.
The sad reality is that tribal nations wield so much political influence now through gaming wealth that the politicians in Olympia and Washington, D.C., Democrats, by the way, progressives, by the way, are afraid that if they do something at Nooksack to prevent human rights abuse, they will somehow be accused by some other tribe, perhaps a gaming tribe, of affronting tribal sovereignty. So they won't. They simply look away to protect their careers.
In a rare move, the United Nations has gotten involved, issuing statements and even calling on the Biden administration to step in to stop human rights abuses. The Interior Secretary, Deb Haaland, would have the authority to do so, but has never commented on the matter, despite media attention and my own inquiries. Instead, her assistant secretary under the Bureau of Indian Affairs tells Fox 13, quote, there is still time for the Nooksack tribe to treat its community members with dignity and respect, and it is our hope that it will. Similar calls to Senator Maria Cantwell have spurred a single-sentence response. A spokesperson writing, I hope the Nooksack Indian tribe will work with their community members.
We're a family with no country right now because the federal government doesn't want to step in because of sovereignty. The Nooksack tribe doesn't want to help us because they say we're not indigenous.
And that's the crux of the story, sovereignty. There are 574 federally recognized tribal nations. Nooksack leaders say their right to govern themselves is paramount here. And due to our nation's history with tribes, few would dare to step on sovereignty. Though, the disenrolled families say that fear has allowed tribes to essentially weaponize disenrollment because the only people they can appeal to are the very people kicking them out. But while Michelle says they belong,
identity, birthright, our culture is here.
The Nooksack tribe says they're ready to move on. In fact, they tell us they, quote, look forward to conveying these homes to qualified Nooksack tribal citizens as soon as possible. So what happens on Friday is anyone's guess. In Whatcom County, Matthew Smith, Fox 13 News.
Get ready for class. Pause and read.
So you were sent over here clearly by your little friend, Miss Wabette. You're Wabette too, right? Here's the thing. I want to say this real quick. Did you leave this comment thinking you were gonna hurt my feelings? Did you think that? Because apparently I switch my hairstyles up quite frequently because that's what I want to do for me, not for you or anybody else. So whether I choose to throw some extensions in or wig or weave or whatever it is I decide to do, guess what? It doesn't change the fact that I am indigenous. I'm indigenous to this land. And not only that, I'm a neuromelanated 9-ether being. Do you know what that is? Do you know what that is? Because see, in my previous video, I broke some things down. Now, just because y'all get mad at people, you shouldn't really try to insult them, because baby, you are just adding fuel to the spiritual fire. You should have sat this one out, friend. Yeah. Alrighty. Oh, and let me say this as well. We do know that a lot of goddesses, like myself, that do partake in the wigs and weaves, we also use them for our crystals, our talismans, tons of different things, because it helps to amplify. And I'm gonna leave that right there for you, okay? Okay. Now, Siberia, I'm gonna say this. I don't want to seem like I'm being ugly or anything, but the same way you are repping so hard because your family and you have been brought here, we, the people that have already been here, that are indigenous to the planet in general, we resonate with this land, and the land resonates with us. Okay, now being that we indigenous folks of the Americas, we have this thing that's encoded in us, the same way that you would be able to still resonate with the people from where your natural land is, right? So the same way that we have certain slangs, right? And we can go anywhere in the world, and that certain slang or that certain joke is amongst all of us. Like we get it, right? I guarantee if you decided to take a visit to your land, you would find that you can actually resonate with those people because it's encoded in you, right? So just because you and your family are here in the Americas, you have conformed to the ways here, but still what's encoded in you is a resonance of your land, your people. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because yeah. But anyway, thank you for your comment. But again, you should have said this one out. Okay, you'll see what I mean. Okay.
Y'all wanna know something that nobody's ready for in 2025 except for those who already seem to fucking know it? Black people, are the aboriginals of every continent. Dark-skinned people are the aboriginals of every continent. Native Americans migrated over the ice bridge from Siberia, that would be Asia, and became what we now know as Native Americans. Yes, they lived off the land. Yes, they knew how to give back to it, so therefore they should be considered indigenous. But the people who were on that land before them and the ice bridge even formed were black people. Black people also built pyramids on every continent. That's why there are pyramids on every continent. The Buddha was a dark-skinned man. The Chinese, we have a lot of trouble denying that we come from melanin. We do. We've tried. We have not succeeded. The difference between us and every other group is that we can admit to the fact that we came from melanin. Why can't everybody else? It's not erasure to say that black people were the aboriginals of every country. We're not saying you didn't exist. We're saying you came after. What's so hard to understand? Just like me saying that Koreans came from China. It's not me saying that they don't have their own culture. That's how all of these Korean nationalists took it in my comments. Oh, you're saying we don't have our own culture or genetic identity? No, I'm saying that culture and genetic identity came from us. If you are not tapped in, and you don't talk to marginalized groups, and haven't spent any time with them, y'all gonna be offended by what I'm saying. Some of y'all only research your own identity, and that's it. And that's the only content you make besides your matcha. So, I don't care who I have to lose, what followers. I already warned people when I got the big video, right? That I'm not the nice Asian. You're gonna find a reason to dislike me. This may be one of them.
Trying to be seen keeps us from opening our eyes. Black people were here first. Black people were here first. Black people were here first. And whoever that pisses off needs to leave my channel, needs to block me. All the above. Koreans, their genetics, their culture came from the Chinese. From what is now known as China. And where did the Chinese come from? Black people. And if y'all are upset with any of this information, go away!